Let's talk about the so-called middle child generation, Gen X. They're often painted as fiercely independent, maybe a little cynical. But have you ever wondered why? We're going to unpack the unique psychology that was forged by their upbringing and see how it's still shaping our world today.
So let's just dive right in. Why are resilience, skepticism, and independence the go-to words for this entire generation? Well, as we're about to see, these weren't just random personality quirks. Nope, they were straight-up survival traits, developed in direct response to the world they grew up in.
And this right here is the absolute key to understanding everything else. The foundational experience for Gen X was a constant, daily lesson in just fending for themselves. This wasn't some optional character-building exercise, it was just a simple necessity of the time.
So first up, let's really dig into what makes them the resilient generation. We're going to unpack that psychological blueprint that got laid down in their early years, a blueprint that honestly explains so much about their famous fortitude. To really get inside their heads, you have to picture the world they lived in. So let's look at the environment that shaped them and how this idea of growing up alone together became their shared story. It was basically the crucible where their entire psychology was forged. I mean, this slide really lays out the perfect storm of their childhood. Just think about it for a second. You're a latchkey kid coming home to an empty house. Divorce rates are climbing, the economy feels shaky, and get this, there are no cell phones, no internet to instantly connect you. You were truly on your own. That was the daily reality for millions of kids.
And what's really crucial to understand here is that these weren't just some afternoon adventures that built a little character. No, this environment, according to the research, fundamentally hardwired a specific psychological blueprint into an entire generation.
And that environment, it led directly to the first major psychological outcome, a deeply, deeply skeptical worldview. And make no mistake, this wasn't just some teenage phase of questioning your parents. It became a core part of how they saw the entire world.
There's actually a term for this, institutional skepticism. And the key word there is learned. This wasn't just innate cynicism. It was a distrust of the big institutions, government, corporations, you name it. Because growing up, they saw things like Watergate, the energy crisis. They literally watched promises get broken in real time.
And this right here perfectly captures the result. This wasn't some abstract philosophical rebellion. Questioning what you were told, not taking things at face value, that was simply a survival skill for navigating a world that just had fewer safety nets.
Okay, so that independence had another really direct consequence. If you're on your own so often, what do you learn to do with your feelings? Well, you learn to contain them. You learn to manage them internally, mostly because there wasn't always another option. The term for this is emotional containment. It's basically the skill of managing your own feelings, which often meant pushing them down because you learned from a really young age that a supportive adult wasn't always going to be there to help you sort through them. It's a classic coping mechanism born out of pure necessity.
And this quote, wow, this just perfectly captures that voice inside their head, right? It's that constant inner monologue saying, hey, no one's coming to save you. Don't fall apart. You just have to handle it. That became a deeply ingrained self-conditioning mindset.
Okay, so now we can start putting all these pieces together. How did this learned skepticism and this emotional containment combine? Well, they forged that one defining trait of Gen X, the self-reliant core. Let's look at how that strength was literally forged from independence.
This chart breaks down the cause and effect perfectly. You look on the left, you see the environment's message, figure it out yourself. Then you look to the right, and the result is a mindset where self-reliance is just the default setting. The cause? Seeing institutions fail you. The effect? Learning to trust your own judgment above all else. And finally, because you had to handle your own problems, you developed this profound emotional independence. It's a straight line from cause to effect.
So you can literally see the dominoes fall here, step by step. It all starts with less supervision. That naturally fosters skepticism about the authorities in your life. To handle that reality, you have to develop emotional containment as a coping skill. And all of those things together, that's what forges the self-reliant core that defines the whole generation. It's a really clear psychological pathway.
And what you end up with, because of this pathway, is a set of interconnected traits that became the baseline psychology for an entire generation. It's kind of like a shared psychological fingerprint created by a shared set of experiences.
So let's be really clear about something. The most important thing to take away from this is that it's not about being cynical or negative just for the sake of it. The way the source material frames it, this entire mindset is a form of profound resilience, a strength that was forged out of pure absolute necessity.
And that leaves us with one last crucial question to chew on. In today's hyper-connected, team-oriented, collaborative world, is this fierce, ingrained self-reliance still a superpower, or has it, in some ways, maybe become a vulnerability? Now that's something to think about.